Morning. Are you coming in then? Good morning, and what a show we got lined up today. Today is pretty special because we have a certain Tim Peake will be here. I'm looking forward to that. He'll be swapping the International Space Station for a trip down the M3 as he drops down the house very shortly. And I'll be rustling up some mouth-watering recipes for a certain M People's. Heather Small will be here as well. The head chef of the Ritz, John Williams, will be here. He'll be treating us to some five-star cuisine a little bit later. And first states barman, the fabulous Merlin Griffiths is back with some cocktails. They like that one. Cocktails are guaranteed to go down the storm this New Year's Eve party tonight. But first, my guests at the house today, the stars behind a family-run restaurant in Southall, and has been setting the standard of Indian food for almost 50 years. It's the fabulous Dipna and Gulu Anand. Welcome back, welcome back. But we're kicking things off today with a dish that's perfect for a New Year's brunch. It's a classic omelette Arnold Bennett. Now, I know you love making omelettes, don't you? You told me that earlier.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you've never made an omelette before?
No, I have made an omelette. I'm not very good at making
Well,
omelette.
we're about to find that out on national television.
No, don't do that.
No, you'll be fine.
I'll be your assistant.
You are my assistant, so
right.
this will be fine. So first thing I want you to do is crack the eggs into a bowl. All right, there's a bowl. 8 eggs. 8 eggs we need for this one because it's a decent... It's a bit like the omelette version of your festive feast, your platter.
Like a masala egg?
It's nothing like a masala egg. This is an omelette Arnold Bennett. It's no relation to masala egg, all right? So this is omelette Arnold Bennett. So omelette Arnold Bennett at its heart is eggs and smoked haddock, which we've got on here. So we've got naturally smoked haddock, which you can see on here. So this is the beautiful naturally smoked haddock, not the one that's sort of been spray tanned. We're going to basically pop in a little bit of bay leaf in there as well, just a little bit of flavour in there as well. So the idea is we poach the smoked haddock first in here. All the eggs are going to go in here, and we use this so the whole thing is a base of the eggs and the smoked haddock, and then we're going to make a sauce out of what we've got in here. So I'm going to touch of cream into here. So that's that. I'm going to poach this for 3 or 4 minutes because that's... So we've put a little bit of seasoning in our eggs. There we go. But I can see your dad has got his eye on this. So it's like a party around at my house. You can see you've got your eye on all this bubbles over here straight away.
You know why, though, right? He's thinking, what can we keep on the restaurant menu?
Exactly.
That's what he's
Well, interesting enough, this is local. So we're going to introduce you to a family who produced this, but this is from literally 2 fields away.
Wow.
Or big fields, that way, that direction.
So that's very local.
It is very, very local. And as we all know, this area around Hampshire, particularly for sparkling wine, is becoming more and more popular. So we're about to find out where this comes from now, because this is a perfect complement with this sort of smoked haddock omelette as well. We're about to go, like I said, just over the fields to meet Gussie Rames, whose family have been farming in the South Downs for about 5 generations. So welcome to the show. I can see you're not in the middle of the field, in the comfort of your home.
No, I'm inside today.
Exactly. So I'm about to open this. So tell me how it all started, particularly the farm. Let's do the farm first. So 5 generations.
Yes, I'm the 5th generation.
Right.
So we've been farming a very long time.
And farming what? What do you farm?
Well, at the moment, we are mainly cereal producers, so wheat and barley and beans or peas. But also we have a herd of pedigree Hereford cattle with lovely horns. We've got a lot of water meadows and grass downland on the South Downs. And the chalk that we're on, of course, is brilliant for growing vines. It's the same piece of chalk that goes under the Channel and appears in the Champagne region in France. We have on our farm here a very, very thin topsoil, and then you're straight into white. Literally, the white you would draw on a blackboard with is absolutely white chalk. And so whilst it's not particularly nutritious and brilliant for our other cereal crops, it is ideally suited to vines.
Can I just say, these guys are not drinking, so I've got all this for the rest of the show. This is fantastic. Thank you for sending me this. So we're starting off this little classic, and I'm going to make a nice little omelette with this and explain to everybody what I'm going to be doing. So explain the process while I'm making this little omelette thing. How do we get from the grapes picking on the vines, because you pick it all by hand,
yes,
to what we have in the bottle? You said it takes time, but explain the process of double fermentation as opposed to sort of a white wine, for instance.
Okay, so first of all, we'll be harvesting our grapes. We will be picking in October. So these grapes have had a really long hang time, very slow, gentle ripening in the English climate, which means that when we're picking them, when they're ripe, the right levels of sugar, they're really wonderfully flavour ripe as well. So we'll pick those grapes by hand in the vineyard, and then we'll take them to the winery, which is very close by, and they'll be pressed. And that juice will be put into a tank and some into barrel, and it undergoes its first fermentation. Now, Champagne sparkling wines are unique in that there's 2 fermentations. That first fermentation will happen in tank and be a process of at least 9 months. At that point, me and my family, we go to the winery and we sit down with the winemaker and we taste those still wines they are then, those base wines. We'll taste the Chardonnay base wines, the Pinot Noir, the Pinot Meunier, all separately. And you think about what you want to blend, what wine you're making, and you agree together on the blend of those wines.
So we've got the stuff in the bottle. This goes in the bottle, and then you leave it for how long before it's ready?
That's right. You do your second fermentation in the bottle. So you agree on your blends and they're put into the bottle with a little bit of yeast, a little bit of sugar, and that goes through its second fermentation. Now, this is a much longer fermentation. It can be in the bottle, aging in a cellar on its lees with that little bit of yeast for many years. And in fact, that one that you have there has been lees aging for 36 months, so many years. Which is why you get this lovely sort of creaminess, a sort of hint of brioche, a nice sort of toasty yeastiness just behind the lovely fruit that's there in the wine, the apple and pear. And
what I love about this conversation, Gulu's halfway this conversation is thinking, can I do a little business idea? Because it's possible. And then the minute you mentioned 36 years before I could do anything, that's it. You just suddenly.
No, this is really intrigued me. And I think the process, as you were saying, it takes around about 3 years to actually get from the grapes into the bottle.
And that's minimum as well.
Yes.
I mean, when you're talking about the vintage stuff, I mean, when you're talking about vintage wine, it's different to sort of vintage champagne. Vintage champagne is kept in the bottle and it ages and it ferments and gets better in the bottle, doesn't it? So bottle ferments.
That's right.
But this is on average
right.
36 months. That's what your products, you keep them for, but you can keep them for longer.
You can keep them for longer. The classic that James has opened has been aged for 36 months. We'll do a little bit different across the range. Our Blanc de Blanc may have a little bit longer. I think it's 42 months. And you may choose to do other wines for even longer still, yes.
Well, we wish you all the very, very best of luck with it. I know that, it's taken the sparkling wine world by storm, really. And what's a great story about it is that you weren't going to be doing this. You set up another business, and it's even better, it's down the road. Thank you for being a part of this, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
There we have it.
Thank
See,
you.
now you
Yes.
know. You see, it's amazing.
It's
Because
fantastic.
often when you think about sparkling wine, you don't think about... when I think about sparkling wine, I instantly think about sort of whiskey.
And it's got different flavors as well, like the rosé.
Yeah, well, you've got rosé, demi-sec, you've got dry. It's all to do with the grape variety and how long it's kept in the bottle. But
Might change his mind. Might have a little drink tonight, huh?
I am tempted.
Yeah, before the...
That is a first, James. That is a first, let me tell you.
Can I tell you what? I'm going to give him a bottle to take home, and you keep sending me these videos, don't you?
I'll send...
Do you know she records you?
She does secretly, doesn't she?
She records you, and then she sends me them of you on the karaoke machine. And just to prove a point, we've got one now.
Have you?
Yeah, here, watch
what?
now. Only joking.
And then James replies saying, oh, tell him to leave it out.
No, exactly. So there's your nice little salad. This is you ready for your omelette?
Ready.
Omelette Arnold Bennett?
Ready.
Not masala egg?
I worked hard on this.
Really?
Wow.
Omelette Arnold Bennett.
That
I did a
looks-
pretty good job.
My
there,
advice
didn't
to you is let that cool slightly, otherwise A&E's going to be quite busy.
I? All right.
You're going to go in there with a burnt mouth tonight, but they have a classic omelette Arnold Bennett. The whole idea of it souffles up, but you've got the sauce, you've got everything you need. all in one pan. And I think it's so much nicer than doing folded and individual.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is you don't turn it.
No, you don't need to turn it over. You just scoop it
Oh, then
it
I'll
all
be
out.
good at it.
on
Then
the
I'll be
pan.
all right.
Scoop it out
Then
later.
I'll be all right, yeah.
Dipner, thanks very much for your help. But there you have it, a classic omelette Arnold Bennett. Done. Right. Give a little piece to your dad, you see? Like, you take a little bit of this omelette. You take a little bit of that. There you have it. Have a taste of that with a smoked haddock and everything else. Do you want a little bit?
Yeah, I'll have
A little taste. See how it compares with masala egg.
Yeah, I'll do a little comparison, shall I?
You're going to say it wants a little bit of masala in there.
Chaat
as well.
masala.
There you have it.
Dad didn't wait for anyone.
OK, right, we'll be joining some festive cocktails from top barman Merlin Griffiths a little bit later. And astronaut Tim Peake will be touching down in Hampshire very shortly. But see you again after the break for a spectacular recipe from Dipner and a dad gulu. I'll see you in a bit. You all right?
Yeah, yum.
Welcome back. Now I'll be giving you a crash course in canopies in this week's Little Masters. And my guests Tim Peake and Heather Small will be here at the house very shortly. But first, I'm here with the first family of Indian cookery whose food has been wowing the customers since the 1970s in London. It's Dipner and Gulu Anand. Good to have you back. Good to have you back. Now, what's on the menu? This looks impressive, I have to say. Because you guys do New Year, I mean, big time.
Yeah, and this is a proper celebration dish. It's a thali, which is an Indian platter all to yourself. So you've got all the curries, you've got some samosas, some bhaji, some rice, some naan bread.
So what you're saying, this is all for me?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, so what are we going to be doing then?
OK, we're going to start by making a masala. So here I've got some oil, cumin seeds, some onions. Now, this is how brown you want your onions. Over here, I'm going to start doing some pilau rice.
I love it how Dad's the wingman.
Yeah,
Look,
and he's keeping an eye on me. I can see
Okay.
that already.
So, Dad, what are you going to be making then?
I'm gonna
What are you doing?
Some papadums,
Okay.
some purple papadums, some samosas, and some onion bhajis.
So these are the poppadoms. What are these? Are these particularly for New Year or what?
Yes, they're a little colourful as well.
Right.
It's called purple, again with rice flour.
Okay. And you just plainly deep fry
You
these?
just deep fry that and it suddenly pops up.
Well, you crack on and we can see what they come up like. But
Yes.
And I love the different colours as well. Because Gulu, you've done an amazing thing recently. You've been cooking for the community as well. I mean,
Yes.
but for thousands of people.
Around about 5,000 people. There was a big celebration for Diwali, which we've just had. And the community was getting together at a temple, which is not very far from my restaurant in Denham.
But what got you into cooking in the first place? Because you've had restaurants all over the world. What got you into cooking? Was it your family
I think
were
it's
into it?
my father who started the restaurant in the early sort of 45, 50s in Nairobi in Kenya.
Yeah.
And he opened the first Brilliant in 1955 in Kenya, in Nairobi. And then we had the Independence of Kenya.
Yeah.
Where we had a contract to cater for the independence celebrations. So we cooked food for about 80,000 people. And that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You've got it easy now, you see.
I only have to do like 300-400 at one time. All right.
So what have we got in here then?
Okay,
Explain to us what's happening
I've added, so here I'm starting the pilau rice. I've put in the veg oil, I've put in some cumin seeds and a little bit of cumin powder as well, just for the colour, and the onions are just browning. In this one, this is my masala sauce now, so I've added some butter, the tomato. I added coriander powder, cumin powder, also a little bit of salt and red chilli, and turmeric as well. So all in here. And now what I'm waiting for is for just this masala to split. As soon as this masala has split and the oil and the butter just starts to seep out the edges, I will then go in with my chicken.
So you don't seal the chicken off beforehand? You don't?
No, you put it in raw.
All right.
You put it in raw and you cook it with the in the sauce. And now in this pan here for the rice, I need my peas. My rice has been washed and soaked.
Yeah.
So peas go in. I added ginger and garlic into there as well. Just
So long grain rice for this one.
yeah, basmati rice. Right, water
Right,
now
go on.
is going to go into here. So this is measured. When you make rice, and I learnt this from Dad, when you make rice, you must have the same amount of rice to the same amount of water, but not by weight, by volume. Okay, what did you put in my cucumber?
Lemon juice and a little bit of vegetable oil.
Olive oil.
Olive oil, sorry.
Okay,
olive
we
oil.
need some chaat masala in there, which is here.
Okay,
And
which
some
is-
cracked black pepper. So,
So
chaat
what-
masala also has the black salt. Now, James,
Which
if you
is
look at
so-
this masala...
You need to tell me which is which.
Okay, this is chaat masala.
Okay. Bit of that sprinkled in
Yeah.
it?
Just a little bit of
yeah,
it.
Just
a little
a
bit. That's got
And?
a nice salty flavour. And also some coarse black pepper.
Black pepper. Okay.
James, you know I told you about the masala?
Yeah.
Look now, how the butter and oil has seeped out the edges. My masala is done.
So
Let's-
is this the same process whether you're doing it with chicken or fish? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
You allow
yeah,
the sauce
yeah.
to split.
Yeah, you allow it to split. And then you add your lamb or your chicken or your fish or your veg, depending on what you're making. This, in fact, is ready for the finishing touches. That is going to be ready in a minute for foil. So there's some foil there. James, you just put the foil on that.
I'll give you the foil.
I'll do that. So you just put a little bit of foil on the
Yeah,
top.
and then finishing touches to this dish, coriander,
And some ajwain, have you?
ajwan. Yes, this is...
How long do you cook this one? It's about 15 minutes.
So you want to leave it like this with the lid on. I have a lid for this somewhere. I did tell Dad and James to be organised.
I've got it. It's there.
Yeah.
There.
Okay, and the ajwan. So this is carom seeds.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it into a little...
Right.
That's a little-
Look at that. That's-
little
what-
mini
what-
one. It's for my height, you see, James, that you're always going on about. Right? So that goes in.
James, we're going to
Smell
solve
this
this height thing because I've just suddenly thought I've got something here that, seeing as it's the last bit of the year, look,
Are you kidding me? What is...
it's a chopping board. It's a spare chopping board I've got.
Wow. Well, that'll help.
Well, thanks. That really... Oh, I feel a bit better now.
Happy with that?
Yeah, can I have that every time? Why didn't you think of that before?
Well, just don't walk backwards. Yeah, exactly. But just there.
All right, you lot both just look out for me now. So crushed fenugreek. Carom has gone in, the carom seeds, which we call ajwan.
Now, New Year's celebration in your restaurant. I mean, sure, it's packed
It
tonight.
is,
It's
it
going to be
is.
crazy. But little birdie also tells me that he's been banned from because karaoke is your dad's favourite thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really
That is
is.
happening.
You're
Oh,
now,
yeah,
exactly. You're
definitely.
pulling rank, Dad.
I'm not listening to her.
Exactly. You're
No,
pulling.
he's not listening to me. He's not listening to Mum. Mum is not happy about the whole singing thing. But we can't do anything.
No.
So we haven't got space to make another studio. So
Right. So
that's that then.
So those people who are coming to the restaurant tonight, he's on the mic.
Yeah, we're having a party tonight. Dad will be singing.
The
I'll
mic
be
and the
doing
dance
some
floor.
Bhangra, you know.
Right.
And yeah, we'll be
So
having a...
I've got to do this dressing. Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Okay, so you've made the cucumber, you added the chaat masala. Did you add some salt in this?
I've added a little pinch of
Of that
salt.
chaat masala or salt?
Just look, what do you do? There. That's it, done.
You liar. You fib. Just leave that now. I'll deal with that now. You just... you make
No,
the
come on,
mango
come on,
lassi.
give me a hand.
No,
You
no.
step down a
no,
bit, or
because
you
my
just come off your
chicken's in-
platform
no,
now, aren't you?
wait, Dad just watched that because he's setting me up again. Now, this is what you need to add right
Right, what
here.
do I need to do?
This
What's
is
that in
your mango
Right.
puree,
Yeah.
right?
What are we making? What is this?
We are making mango lassi to go with the thali. Dad, you better watch that chicken,
This is
please,
done.
yeah? Okay, here we
This
go.
is
James,
boiled.
remember what I told you to do, but you forgot?
Bit of yogurt.
Right. Okay, now all of the other yogurt, that's perfect. Now all of that other yogurt goes in, no. And now this goes in there.
All of this?
Yeah, that all goes in.
Yeah.
Some sugar.
Right. Ice?
Yes, ice in there. So you're making like a mango
Is this a
milkshake.
drink or something? What I'm making?
Yeah,
What-
yes.
All right.
Mango lassi.
Okay.
Have you had lassi before? You've had lassi before.
No, I haven't actually. I don't think.
Garnish. Yeah, one bhajia, one some... Oh, you got it here. Dad, I need
Do you want me to clear this away for you?
Yes, please.
Do you want me to clear this away for you?
Oh, yes, please.
That's all right.
You're a very good assistant. Okay,
Do you want me to slide this? Now you're at this bit. Nobody's noticed. We'll edit this bit out.
Now I'm going to look short and tall in the same...
No, you're in the right position.
You'll be fine.
I'm moving it along for you. The chopping board's not long. There you go.
Okay, right. I need this in there, and I need one of the chole in here.
I'll do
but
that.
Don't make sure it looks nice. And I need some of this. Right, here's the rice. So once you leave that rice to steam,
Yeah.
it will all be.
Where's that
without
pan
any
come
heat.
from?
Home.
All right, okay.
Right. Thank you.
Can I get rid of this?
Yes. Thank you.
These?
Yeah, for the mango lassi. But you know what you need to do? Taste the mango lassi first. Just see if it's...
I don't know what it's supposed to taste like. What's it supposed to taste like?
And give me
Wait,
the other one
wait,
for
one
the
minute.
chicken.
Let me just taste it myself. Dad, have you done that? Just take that off then.
So I'll pass you it over because you'll drop down about a foot.
Oh, yeah, that's wicked. Don't add nothing else. Right, this is that.
Next, what's this in here?
Naan breads, we can get rid of that. But if you fill the lassi up, I need some of these. Okay, Dad, I need to do chicken, yeah.
All these?
There we go, yes, please.
Now, when the order comes on in the restaurant, do you do this, Dipner, or do you get other people to do it?
What? The thali? No, I help.
All right, okay.
Like, obviously, you need a lot of people helping for this,
Yeah, I'm
right?
guessing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on with that.
Especially me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad's a really good helper, actually. He helps. Okay, this goes here. So this is the chickpea and keema peas. I've done the chickpea on the show before when I did the samosa chart.
Okay.
It's the same one. I haven't done the keema on the show before, but I'll do it on the next one.
Do you want the lid?
No.
No?
Thank you. I need this.
All right, so...
Okay. And this over here. So that's the masala chicken we made just now.
Yep.
This is the rice we made just now. And where is my rice mold, Dad? It's over there. There it is. Okay.
Okay.
So we need one samosa, 2 onion
Is that all the
bhajis.
chicken you get, that bit?
Yeah, but look how much else you get. You can't finish
Yeah, but
all
I'm looking
that.
to see what's in the pan that's left over.
You can have the pan one.
Yeah.
Now you have to use your hands for this bit. We added mace to the rice as well, which are these things here.
Right.
Dad forgot to remind me to put it in, but it's fine. Just now.
Another blame?
Right, this goes here. Now with this bit, you have to be really fast. Like that, okay. And then these are some farfar. So we got a green, we've got a nice yellow one here. Actually, let's just put this one, take this one out. Like this, you also got some mini papadum. So on this thali, you want everything, right? Like this. And then when you're ready to present, you just open it up like this. So I'm only going to open it up when you're ready for me to present.
What about all this?
We can add a bit. Oh, yeah, you didn't add your garnish on this. Oh, and the edible flowers on this.
On what? This?
On the lassi, yes, please. Oh, those are nice. Just one. Now yours looks like a garden
It's
now.
autumn. That's the thing.
Right.
This happens. Winter. There you go.
Okay,
So that's that. That's that.
there.
And before we finish, because I know there's something in the background as well, which we got.
Oh.
This goes in front of it. Tell us about this, and also tell me about what this is to go with it all.
Okay, this is our traditional celebration sweets called barfi. It's made with milk powder, nuts, some edible, we call it vark, which is like a foil, edible foil. And then that one in the middle is like a coconut one, but it's delicious.
So give us the name of this dish.
So this is a dipna thali served with mango lassi.
Easy as that. There you go. Before I taste this. So I take it if you haven't got this, you can just do it all on one plate.
Yeah,
That's
like
the-
a
that's
big,
the idea.
like the biggest plate in your house.
The biggest plate in your house.
And then little bowls. So that's still, technically that's still a thali, because a thali is a platter all to yourself.
Do you know, I love you guys coming to the house because it's the best curry. Credit to you both. You're fantastic. Dipna and glue hand, everybody. Brilliant, brilliant. Right, still to come, we've got a masterclass in puff pastry nibbles and head chef from the Ritz, John Williams, will be treating us to one of his iconic recipes a little bit later. You've got to stick around for that one as well.
We will.
You can't miss that one. But join again after the break. We're serving up an out-of-the-world red Thai curry for astronaut Tim Peake. I'll see you in a bit. This is amazing. Welcome back. Now, John Williams was showcasing his amazing skills in the kitchen a little bit later. And First Dates barman Merlin Griffiths will be mixing some festive cocktails for us next. But first, I'm here with a man who this time 7 years ago was circling the Earth as the first British astronaut to visit the International Space Station. It's the very, very first time I'm going to say this, and very last time probably. Please welcome to the show the astronaut, Mr. Tim Peake.
Thank you, James.
I mean, of all the jobs, I've got to do this, of all the jobs, you must love it at a party going, what do you do for a living? I mean, that is the... I thought Red Arrow's pilots were pretty cool. I mean, that is pretty cool. You can't imagine this, could you?
It is pretty cool, but then the conversation is all kind of about space for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, so. I don't want to... But I'm going to talk about food and we'll talk about that as well, but food particularly. Red Thai chicken curries, I know one of your favourite dishes. This is a really simple dish. You can cook this in real time. I'm going to do it in real time. It takes about 9 minutes to cook. So I'm going to make a simple little Thai paste. We've got some galangal over here. I've got some ginger. I've got some lime leaf, some chilli, that kind of stuff. I'm going to make a lovely little Thai paste of here. But what I want to do is... We're not going to talk about space at the moment. What I want to talk about is your life. But because it was as fascinating before you ventured up in a rocket as it was, you know, after.
Yeah.
Starting out life as a young kid, you say you were the shy kid at school.
I was shy, yes, yeah, and I think that for me, I kind of expressed myself through outdoor activities.
What, sport or...?
No, just adventure training type things. I
Right.
mean, I wasn't particularly, a sporty person. I played rugby at school, but for me, it was when I got to the cadets, and suddenly it was things like, going off at the weekend, off camping and hiking and adventure training and rock climbing and kayaking, and that's where I kind of felt that I could come out of my shell and really just be myself.
But were you, I mean, did you have an idea what you were going to do? Because I know you were mentioning the cadets. It was basically the RAF cadets, wasn't it, that set you on your way?
We had a combined cadet force at school, and
Right.
I was quite cheeky because I was in the Army Cadets, because I don't know why, really. I just felt more sort of familiarity with Army life, but I loved flying. So
Right.
at the weekend, I would put on my blue uniform and go off with the Air Force
love
Cadets. So I had the best of both worlds.
And this
really.
you're in your teens when you first started flying, though, weren't you?
Yes, yeah, I was about 13, and as soon as I had that first trip in an aircraft, I knew that was it. That I loved it, absolutely loved it. It just felt such a familiar environment, and I just knew that I wanted to try and be a pilot. And
But I mean, but notoriously difficult to become a pilot. I mean,
it's a long process.
I presume you wanted to be a fighter pilot. That's what most pilots want to be. Was that
Do you
the
know
case?
that I wasn't, absolutely not.
Right.
I wanted to be a helicopter pilot right from the get-go. I had this little computer game, and it was an Apache simulator, and I'd play it for hours and hours.
I had a computer game, that's exact same one, because we're both the same age, but I didn't get the opportunity to do what you were doing. But what was the moment for you then, thinking, because when you're flying, you speak to a lot of instructors when you're flying, you became an instructor as well. There's people who can fly, but there's people who've got a natural gift. You had one of those natural gifts, didn't you?
I think I was very fortunate that I just felt, I felt in my element. I felt I wasn't having to work that hard in order to fly the aircraft. And, I was speaking to some of my friends who are equally good pilots, but I could realise that they were having to work so hard. And for me, it just kind of came
talking
natural.
and chatting, Tim. We
Well,
all got our niches.
We've got our strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. I'm
and
stuck
honestly,
doing this every Saturday. Not that I mind.
This is why I'm a bit terrified being here today, because this is my absolute weakness, is cooking.
Well, I know that. I was going to get you
absolutely-
next to you, but I'm just going to recap one here. If you eventually get to do this and try this, this is so I've got some shrimp paste, I've got a little bit of sugar in here, I've got some lime leaf, that goes in there, and then what we're going to do is switch this machine on, because it makes a bit of a racket to start off with, and really munch this all down. So you can see you've got this amazing colour from it. Blend it all up. And that's your simple paste. And then what we do is we take a little bit of veg oil. This sits in the pan, and then you put some of this paste in here. I can see this going straight over the top of your head, Tim, because I know that you're not a great fan of being in the kitchen. Going, yeah, whatever. Right, get onto space and get onto flying. So, but was it Sandhurst that you became one of the youngest? What was this thing about the youngest officer? What was that all when was this?
Well, I'm not sure that was.
One of the youngest, was it?
Yeah, well, I went in at quite a young age. I was 19 when I started at Sandhurst, and that actually was fortunate because it gave me a lot of time flying in my career, and that's how I built my hours up and became an instructor and then a test pilot.
I've got to say, how on earth do you then go from that to applying to be an astronaut? Is that something you see online, or
It was honestly just an online advert.
You're joking.
I couldn't believe it, and I didn't even see it first. It was my wife and a friend of mine. They both saw it. Space agency just put this advert out, and it was out of the blue. Nobody expected it, and nobody in the UK had previously been able to become a
your wife
space
found
astronaut.
this.
So she saw it.
I think there's a lesson in that, really.
Yeah, I know. She's been the driving force behind all of my
sending you away.
Yes. But yeah, so I just applied along with everybody else, and you know, kind of the rest of history.
Now, the reason why we're chatting away, not only because you're just local as well, which is fantastic. You brought up in Chichester.
That's right.
But now live not a million miles away from there. But you're venturing out on the road, and I say you've been venturing out on the road for quite a long time. Chris,
yeah.
tell us about this tour, because it's fascinating.
I've been on tour for about a year now, and it started out as, well, we'll just do, you know, maybe 20, 30 venues, and it went really well, so we've extended it. It's my journey to space, so it does tell the story about how I became an astronaut, but it also tells the story about, you know, what we're doing up there, what it's like to live and work in space, because so many people want to know. And it's very immersive, a lot of audio-visual in there, and it's really as close as I can get to taking somebody into space, showing them what it's really like to be up there.
And been able to do the range of things that you've done, because as an astronaut, I mean, the spacewalk has got to be...
Yeah.
Has that probably got to be the ultimate thing?
The spacewalk is definitely the highlight, without a doubt, yeah.
And I'm just going to move this chicken, because we've got steam coming out of your face that we've got on here. So tell us about the spacewalk and what... I mean, you're walking out and there's nothing.
Yeah. So it was quite funny, in the kind of week leading up to the spacewalk, I was looking out all the hatch windows, trying to visualise my route and see where I'd be going. And it's quite a daunting prospect. But then you just get on with the job and you know, try and normalise your situation.
We say that, but it's got to be one of the most dangerous things you can possibly do in terms of an astronaut. Is that probably the most... They've got to be the most dangerous
It is the most dangerous because you're so isolated. There's just you and one other person, and if anything goes wrong, it's just down to the two of you to sort everything out. So it's something we're always thinking about.
Wow. I mean, all this is going to be told when you're on stage as well.
Yeah, I'll go into a lot of this, all the stories. We had a bad docking incident as well, so I kind of highlight that and take people on an orbit of Earth as well. I think that's a bit that the audience really enjoy, actually, is that kind of visual
I'm not
orbit.
far off from finishing this curry. We've got to finish off with the spinach and the coriander and the lime and everything else. And then seasoning is the fish sauce and a little bit of the soy sauce that I've got in here. But what I was reading all about you yesterday, it's fascinating, the whole thing. But there's reality of life, the hit home bit. One thing that I picked out of all the things reading about you was the fact that when you phoned home, you phoned home from the space station. It was what, Christmas, New Year? Or?
I made a phone call home on Christmas Eve that I got.
You can explain the story. So you get given the opportunity to phone home.
Yeah. So
the platform's yours.
Yeah, well, I had these phone numbers that had been uploaded, and in my defence, one of them had come across incorrectly. So I dialed what I thought was my sister's phone number, where my family would be, you know, celebrating Christmas Eve. And it wasn't. It was a wrong number. And this old lady answered the phone, and I said, "Hello, is this planet Earth?" Which she just said, "No, it is not," and hung up. And I felt so bad because I realised I'd phoned the wrong number. So I just put something out on Twitter and just said, wanted to apologise to the lady I just called. It wasn't a prank call, just a wrong number. And, of course, this tweet went viral, and before I knew it, actually, people had found out who she was. Margaret, I think her name was, and, yeah, I actually got to talk to her when I got back down on Earth and apologise in person.
But look, you've just got in here. Yeah. We're just going to finish this off. This is a little bit of fresh coconut, which we've got in here. So we've got fresh coconut, I've got some lime, I've got some lime juice, and then we've got the mixture over in here, which the broccoli is cooked. So you cook it in a little bit of oil first, touch your water, and very, very quickly it cooks.
Wow. Lovely.
There you go. So just before I start plating this up, or while I plate it up, tell us about the food that you have up there, because it's not the most glamorous. And you were up there for how long?
6 months up there, yeah. No, food is fuel, really, on the space station. And also, they remove a lot of the salt, because the salt exacerbates the bone loss. And so it's very bland. And so, yeah, it's just a case of getting the calories in you.
Physically, your body must change. What happens to your body being up there for 6 months as opposed to...
Well, we try and exercise about 2 hours every day to stop as many changes as possible happening.
But what is the negative effect of what can
you
happen?
get muscle atrophy, bone density loss. Your vision can start to deteriorate. It's basically like aging 20 years in a very short period of time.
And your wife nominated you for this. I think.
But the good news is most of those changes reverse themselves when you come back. I mean, there's nothing you can do about the radiation dose. That's pretty high. But the rest of it all reverses when you get back down.
I mean, I just the whole subject is fascinating. Like I said, you're the first astronaut I've ever spoken to, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you. You're going to stick around for the rest of it. But there you have that nice little Thai.
Fantastic.
Red curry with chicken, with a little bit of broccoli, which has been sort of steamed and fried at the same time. And there we have it. Nice and simple. Easy as that. Done. Right, there you go.
Wow.
Tim, bon appetit. You can taste from either bowl. It's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. But the whole point about that bit of chicken, you can use the chicken thighs if you want, that whole. Mm-hmm. Cook it for a little bit longer, or you can chop them all up like I've done. But... Happy with that?
Yeah, really, really delicious.
So you could replicate this at home. That's the thing. Yeah. Even you, Tim, could replicate this at home.
Even I could manage
that. There you go. We're going to stick around anyway. But Tim Peake, everybody. Right, I'll be making a corn and coconut soup for Tim at the end of the show. Also for MP star Heather Small. She'll be here in the kitchen very shortly. But join us again after the break when the master mixologist, Mr. Merlin Griffiths, will be whisking up more incredible cocktails. That's coming right up. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, if you're looking for some canopy ideas to wow your guests at New Year's party, then don't miss this week's little masterclass. But first, we're getting the party started early down in Hampshire today with a little help from the best barman in the business, bar none. It's the fabulous Merlin Griffiths.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
We just so happen to have an astronaut here.
I know, this is amazing.
Mr. Tim
I'm slightly in awe.
And probably one of the greatest chefs in Britain at the moment.
Of course, doubly in
John
awe.
Williams.
Doubly in awe. Have you ever had a weightless martini?
Well, there's a chat line for you. You can tell you work in a bar, can't you?
There's a challenge.
I'm handing out your tools for today. You've got straws. So there you go. There's your straws. So there's your straws. That you're going to need those. Right. This is all about gadgets that are relative to your job that people can have.
Well, exactly.
Bit of fun.
I mean, you know, we've just gone through Christmas. You imagine my presents tend to be slightly different doing what I do, and they do tend to involve gadgets over the years, and I've amassed a few. So I thought I'd share some of them with you, James.
Right. Okay. What is this first of all? What is
this? We start with a pineapple core. I'm going to do a smoked pineapple Mai Tai, which was sort of inspired by a trip to Hawaii. They were doing the Hilton on Waikiki Beach.
Just cut to his face.
I like that.
This is nice. So here we go, yeah. To save me, because I never got taught how to use a knife, like you brilliant chefs.
You should become a chef.
If I need to...
Where did you get that from?
Wow.
These are available all over the place. This is how you make pineapple
They're
rings.
not going to be available for much longer when this show ends, I tell you.
So, yeah, we're going to start with our pineapple rings.
Wow.
Look at that. There you go, pineapple rings.
Amazing.
I'll
have 10 of them.
Done.
Well, you sold him already. That's it, he's gone. Right.
Makes it easy, doesn't it, you see?
Love
this
it.
is it.
Right, what are we doing?
We want to caramelise those, so I'm going to leave you with the trusty blowtorch.
Leave me to do blowtorching. I can caramelise those. So.
There you go. And meanwhile, I'll get on with getting the rest of the drink ready with another one of my favourite gifts I got for Christmas, a conga shaker. It's a party shaker because you can get loads and loads and loads of drinks in there.
A
which is great.
conga shaker.
It's called a conga shaker. You'll see why in a minute. It's a shaker that makes you dance, right? It does. It gets you moving.
So what are you making in this conga blender then? What is this?
So we're putting in fresh lime juice. Okay, I'm using roughly a whole lime for each drink, a little less maybe. So I'm going to just squeeze some in there, quick as I can. So now we're doing a blend of 2 rums. The original was done with a 17-year-old Jamaican overproof rum, all right, which you can't get that these days. They don't make it anymore, unfortunately. Okay. So what I'm doing it with, I'm going to treat you. I've got a nice 15-year-old Fijian.
Right.
Instead, we're using there. But you can also just use a normal Jamaican Gold. Alongside that, though, just to give a bit more of that, what do you call like rancio flavour, that sort of big, fruity, strong roughness that you want in a nice Mai Tai, I've got some Martinique Agricole rum. Difference being, that's made from molasses. This is made from the sugarcane juice, pressed and distilled. So you get very different characters at 15 or something. But you start compared to that,
that is
which
unbelievable.
That's rude like cachaça. It's absolutely crazy.
It's rude.
It's rude. It's the only way I could describe it. It's rude. Half a shot for each. What am I making now? Half one, 1.5, 2. So 2 shots of an orange liqueur. I'm going to use something with a little
these away
bite.
in the cupboard. Do you want
nice? I need it though. There you are, a little Mandarin Napoleon and orgeat.
Okay.
Love orgeat. There's a big trend in bars in America at the moment, and some in the UK for making your own orgeats. So you make like a nut milk. So you can make like an almond nut milk. This is orgeat's traditionally almond, but people are doing nut milks of all sorts these days, and then obviously sweetening it to make a syrup, and that makes you a sort of homemade orgeat as such. But here we go. You can buy orgeat quite freely.
Last time he was on, but he was reeling off all these amazing. I can't remember how you did. You did over a dozen cocktails in about sort of 15 minutes. It was unbelievable.
That was a lot of fun.
It was, but remembering these recipes for chefs is one thing, but you know you can't sort of Google it in front of the customer, can you? And
oh, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, no, I keep a bar reference these days. I think the older you get, is sort of, you know, much like a chef, what you're supposed to remember, you need to remember your regular calls and your menu. Right?
But the things that barmen do now, they're quite inspirational.
you ain't seen nothing yet. I know what's coming.
He does.
Right, so this is another gadget of yours.
This is fantastic. There we go, look, smoking gun. So I'm just getting a little bit of smoke into the shaker there as well.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. And now we can chuck 3 or 4 of those pineapple slices in there.
In there?
Yeah, chuck them all in. Get them in. All right. So this is for the person who wants to just spend a little bit more time making their drinks, right? And likes to do something a little special. Oh, I'm going to do one more.
One more? Happy with that?
I'm happy with that. And we'll use the rest of those for garnish. Screw the top on. You can see all the smoke stays in there as well, you see. It's lovely. And now that's just going to get infused into the drink. It's our lovely smoky, caramelised pineapple flavours, that lime, and strong rums, and... yeah, you see, don't forget the lid.
And make sure it's properly screwed on.
It screws on, you see, which is nice. And then it just does that. It's a very gentle shake.
I've never seen one of these before. Have you seen one before?
Yeah. It's a lovely, fun way to mix drinks. Yeah. Right, there we go, and that should all be done in there. Off comes the top. Strainer's built in. Away we go. 1 smoked pineapple Mai Tai coming up for you there. There we go, we get a nice colour. It's the caramelised pineapple coming off it.
Do you want some pineapple pieces in there?
We can put half a pineapple on top of each, yeah. There we are. They're all in. Beautiful.
So what do you call that again? What is that called?
So that's a smoked pineapple Mai Tai.
Love it.
There we go. Last bits of available mint from my garden before it fully hibernates. It's already started to at the moment, but these are just in the more sheltered spots. My hardier mint has seen us through to now.
Thank you.
And there we go. Thank
Thank you very much. Ching,
Get in
ching.
there.
Ching,
Chin,
yeah?
see you, mate.
Chin, chin.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Berlin. Happy New
So
Year.
while we're diving into this, what's next?
Right, so that one, as I say, a little more complicated. Next one, nice and easy.
Hello.
I know, you see. You can see why I brought this one back from Hawaii.
What is that? How the hell have you just made that? What is that? And I don't even like rum.
It's great, isn't it? It's great. I love it. Honestly. He's there. He's all over it. This is brilliant. Utterly brilliant.
Where are we going before we lose John out of the equation? Yeah, where are we going
Right,
next?
so I've got a little honey in there. All right, I'm just gonna loosen it with a teensy splash of water. I'm doing 3 drinks. So I've got 4 or 5 spoons of honey into there.
Okay.
All right. Loosening it up, because otherwise, as soon as you
What
get
is
ice in
this?
there... This is, a Winter 75. Here, I'm going to be using a slow gin, honey to sweeten instead of sugar, fresh lemon juice. That's it, tiny amount. You're talking... This is 3 drinks, so I'm using just slightly
This
less
is another
than usual
gadget
one.
you're just winging. Yeah, yeah.
Not a citrus squeezers.
Yeah, I know, but
Essential.
the citrus squeezers, but that's a
I know, you
different
guys
one.
do it with your hands. When you get like
Yeah, but that's a good one, though,
hands
isn't
like
it?
the Hulk
Where
or
does that
Thor
go?
or something, haven't you? And
But that's a good one.
icing
I
to
feel
that.
like I'm on a shopping channel. Where's this from?
That one.
Where's it
Seriously.
from? You just got... Where's...
Sheffen.
Sheffen.
Oh, yeah. Right. Now, if you're doing this at home, you chill your glasses in the freezer.
Right.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Got a gadget for that. It's like a ray gun.
Come on. I wondered what this thing was, but...
Honestly, this is great.
A bit like the jetpacks we have.
Look. Exactly.
It's a bit like the jetpacks you have.
What a wonderful gadget. There you go, look at that. Super cold, icy glasses, at the drop of a hat, without having to wait all night. Wonderful. There you go. I love that gadget. It's so handy. Especially when it's...
Stay on my floor.
It's all right, it's gas, it'll go.
As long as your ices are done, it's fine.
Yes, I burned it down.
Oh, no, it's fine. Go on. Yeah, it's fine. Right, so what have you got? What have you just recap what you got in there?
Right, so honey, sloe gin, fresh lemon, couple of single cloves,
Right.
shaken up. And we can just strain that in there. Winter 75, so we're getting those lovely autumnal winter flavours in. I've always said sloe gin really is. It's a winter-spring kind of drink. Because, you know, you pick your sloes in the summer and autumn.
Yeah.
Right, but then, you know, if you're going to make a sloe gin, it takes quite a while.
A winter 75.
A winter 75 we're doing here. And then we top it with a little rosé champagne, which I had around here somewhere. We got some rosé champagne?
On the back,
there we
there
go.
you go.
We got some there. Beautiful. All right, and it's as simple as that. You could add a little lemon zest over it if you want to, but really doesn't need a garnish, I think. It's one of those elegant drinks. As I say, something very easy. Sorry, now I get your floor.
It's a good job, I love you.
All right, I brought a mop.
That's fine.
There you go, right. Pour these slowly.
Right, so I'm gonna finish that off because I know you were gonna finish off with bits and pieces. So, what else have you brought along with you? Tell us about your melon balls.
Melon balls, last little thing. Well, yeah, it's New Year's Eve, you know, it's New Year's Eve, and people like to have a little nip of something as the night goes on. I thought, look, here's something a little bit more interesting than doing, you know, a nip of this and that.
Yeah.
And so we've taken honeydew and cantaloupe melons, right, balled them. What you can then do is get yourself a watermelon.
Yeah.
The only time I use a chef-sized knife. That's when you have to deal with watermelons, really. And so now, if you're doing this at home, I would just take off roughly the top... Well, I'd take off about the top third of a watermelon, OK? And then just a tiny little bit off the bottom, right? Not advice, just so it doesn't roll around.
Yeah.
Right? But if you've got a little bit more time, you need to make a little fancy ball. Look, I made you a cat. I made you a watermelon cat. Put them in.
A watermelon cat.
Yeah.
Mate, you've got too much time on your hands.
I thought it would be fun. There we go. Right, and instead of the usual vodka, I've got a little bit of white rum. You see, now what you do is you marinate these. Again, a little caster sugar, icing sugar. I've got a little brown sugar to hand, so I'm just going to use that. Right, a little sprinkle over the top of your ball. Right, there you go. And so that's rum, a little touch of mint, a little fruit zest, a little sugar, and you pop that in the fridge for a couple of hours, really.
Right.
Marinate. But we're on to the instantaneous sort of thing. So, and then you load up your watermelon bowl with melon balls. You've got a couple of forks. Might want forks,
yeah.
really, stabbing those. Forks or cocktail sticks.
Got forks.
Nice. You see, there he is. Your watermelon cat with little...
Thank you.
And then keep the bottle of whatever liquor you choose. As I say, I've chosen a white rum on this one. To hand on the side. There you go. Look, get in there. Look, he's lost an ear now.
So this is for people that actually down cocktails too quickly, surely.
You see? It's a way...
Like yourself. For you, then, is it?
It's a distraction for you, to stop you doing that. That's right.
Exactly. So
There
just
you go.
while we're having is this, tell us the other things you've got in here that people can look out for,
Blimey.
just quickly.
What else do people get me? Handmade muddlers. I like that.
What is that?
So if you do your caipirinhas, stick drinks, as we call them, you've got to muddle your fruit in the bottom of the glass with some sugars and things.
Okay.
That's fantastic. I like that.
And then because we've got Tim here, this.
I want one of these.
Now,
definitely.
I'm sorry, I don't ever do this on television. But you're going to stand there, and hold it, and I'm going to take a picture of it. There you go. Look at that.
No.
So tell us what, because this is what, a smoking gun, but this is slightly different. What is this?
So yeah, so as well as doing smoke, there you go. Look, it gives you smoked bubbles over your drinks. So you do this as a nice little tableside service. And it's got that childish element of fun.
Mate, you should have 50% of this. Look
But
at
there
this.
you go. Welcome to the flavour blaster. They're great.
How do you...
So dip it in the bubble mixture. It's food-safe bubble mixture, of course. There you go. Yes.
So what is this bubble?
What's in the
So
mixture?
that's a special food-safe bubble mixture that you get from the guys. There you go.
This after 2 glasses of that rum punch thing. It's gonna be. Oh,
They're
there you
great. A lot of fun.
go. I told you it was gonna be a lot of fun. Merlin Griffiths, everybody.
Thank you. Love you, pal. Pleasure. Thank you.
That is amazing. The man is a genius, a genius. Right, still to come, John will be treating me and everybody else to an incredible plate of monkfish, and I'll be giving you a little masterclass in puff pastry cannabis. But see you again after the break, where we're laying on an early lunch for M People's Heather Small. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now there's a masterclass in puff pastry canopies coming your way shortly. But first, I'm here with a singer whose songs have soundtracked our lives. Ever since she burst onto the music scene in the mid-1990s with M People, it's amazing. Heather Small! First of all, welcome to the house. You're looking spectacular.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Just check out these shoes. Look at these shoes. Now, talk about top trump, everybody in here. Check out these. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you a lovely little dish, because vegan.
That's right.
And you've been vegan for many, many years.
A long,
so I'm going
long
to show you a
time.
wonderful little dish. It's aubergines. That's the reason why we're outside. So I've warmed up. We've got the fire going. We've got the barbecue going over here.
It is very pleasant, James.
It is quite nice. It's quite hot where I stood, to be honest with you. But we're going to roast off some aubergines. I'm going to do a nice little chutney with this. Lovely little sort of herb tabbouleh salad and a couple of dressings, one with harissa and one with this sort of vegan cream cheese as well. But it's a wonderful vibrant flavour to go with it. So the first thing we do is take our aubergines and just simply roast these in the oven. So we take our aubergines and just cut them in half. And they're going to get roasted just in our oven. You can speed up the cooking. If you just take your knife and then cut little bits in there, it just speeds up the cooking.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because sometimes if you don't do it right,
Sometimes you don't do it right.
No, sometimes if you don't do it right,
well, that's the thing.
It's tough, a little bit
do you
tough.
think it's sort of thing with vegan food? It's sort of 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was all a bit quite difficult to get ingredients, bits and pieces?
It was difficult. I mean, when I started like 30 years ago, it was really difficult. And I think now the millennials have pushed it forward. I mean, salted caramel brownies and ice cream now. I mean, when I first started, I didn't know what chocolate I could have, and I went back 2 years without chocolate, which for me is a sacrilege. But I was determined to stay vegan.
So when was the love of music? When did it hit with you? Because was that growing up? Where did it come from? Was that the gospel side of it? Where did that come from? Because your voice is, I mean, it's unique as well. I remember.
That's very kind of you.
Well, it is. I mean, we're going to get onto that in a minute. But where did your love of music come from?
I think it's always been there. You know, I grew up in an African-Caribbean household, and music is key, and music is king and queen. So we had a lot of different styles. So there was ska, there was pop, there was soul, there was reggae. So it was always, you know, we loved ABBA to Bob Marley.
That's the thing. It's the whole.
Because I grew up in the 70s. So...
You're talking about the Caribbean. I love the Caribbean, but the ability to what they love about people think about there's just Caribbean being Bob Marley and Hendrix, but there's so many different.
Yeah, and a lot of soca, a lot of calypso. I grew up with, you know. So the whole thing about winding my waist. So I could dance to like anything and everything. Still do. So the love of music came in the household, from Aretha to, like I say, Prince Buster.
Yeah.
And I felt that I wanted to be able to make that sound.
But your voice, I mean, you came on the scene in the 90s, and it was almost
From nowhere.
You suddenly went bang. You know, was that what it felt like for you back then?
Well, I'd been in bands, one band before, but we didn't light up the sky or anything. M People's success was quite quick. It was quite rapid.
What do you put that down to? The success. What was it? Finding the right timing, right people, because
yeah, it's all of those things. You know, you have basic talent, but you do need to have luck. You need fortune and right time, right place with the right people. All heading in the same direction and wanting the same things. We wanted to be successful. We wanted to be called a pop band. You know, I didn't care about being called, you know, a black woman singing pop. Hendrix did rock and roll. You know, we've done all types of music all of the time. I wanted to be successful and on my own terms. And that was the thing with them people. We wanted to be successful and on our own terms.
Well, you say that because been in a band and stuff like that, you're notoriously not on your own terms. Because it's usually somebody else's terms, it's usually record company's terms. But when you're reading about you're standing up for yourself. You know, in that industry as well, that's notoriously difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I had people who were on my side, well, for the majority of the time, and we wanted to do what we wanted to do, and the record company just left us alone. I think they didn't realise that we would be as successful as we were. So
That's
they just
what I'm
left
trying to
us.
think. I
Yeah,
think
they
they
just
just-
left us to do what we wanted to do, and then it was successful. So then, you know, people leave you alone. You just carry on and do what you love to do with all your heart and with all your soul. We just worked really hard.
But of all the things you're doing, do you look back and you think, this is because you, like you said, you wanted it. You know, you worked so hard for it. Was there ever a point where you just thought, this is it? This is.
I think it's when you do live work. When I stepped out on stage, Manchester Arena, Old Trafford, and people are singing your songs. You know, you're scribbled away writing and performing, and then you record, and then you get out there to people who are singing back your songs. It's an absolute dream come true.
Well,
definitely.
we're going to blend this up as well, because we're going to talk about one of the things you're doing as well, because at the moment I don't want to make too much noise. So I've got a little bit of leftover herbs going on here. My aubergines are cooking away. Got the little pine that's over here, nice little bit of chutney cooking away nicely. Now, tell us about what you're doing at the moment, because you're on this amazing project.
Yes.
This is a group of musicians. You're taking over for a period of time. Tell us about the project and what's it for, what's it stand for?
So I'm going on tour with Young Voices, and what they do is bring young people into music. So we're going to different cities, from Manchester to Sheffield, Wembley, O2 Arena, and I will sing with those young people. So they'll do a whole concert, a whole show, and I will come on for some of that and sing with them. And it's just that a love and appreciation of music. And what it does is, you know, and not everyone's going to go on to make a career of it, but it gives you confidence. You know, you stand up in front of people and say, this is who I am and this is what I'm able to give. It's just amazing. And I love working, even though they say don't work with children and animals, I love working with children.
But this is a whole orchestra as well, isn't it?
It's a whole orchestra. They have some of the best players in the country. So the children are experiencing music and playing live at the highest of levels in the best venues in the country.
Exactly.
It is absolutely amazing. And the money that's generated is donated to a mental health charity for young people.
He's raised fortunes over the years.
Absolute fortunes, absolutely. And they've got the record for playing the most nights at O2.
Now, I've got to talk about, because people, when you want to do what you're doing, you finish in a band and bits and pieces, people then finishes, you decide to go solo. That's a massive decision for you, or was it a decision?
Yeah.
Was it a decision that you wanted to do, or?
It's a big decision, but it was an easy decision because I felt that we'd done as much as we were going to do. And it wasn't about being famous and rich. It was about exploring who I was musically as well. So I wanted to do something that was just about me. And like you said before, you know, when you're in a band, it's not so much that the record company has a say, it's that the rest of the band members have a say. And if there's 3 people and, you know, you're in a band where they say, this decision is swung by 2 and you're always the one on your own, you feel to yourself that
You're stuck, aren't you?
Yes, maybe you should try something else for a while. So, and that's what I did. And, you know, and that's why I wrote Proud, because it's about what you deem to be success. And that, you know, I did have success in the band, but I had a successful pregnancy and birth, and I wanted to be able to enjoy that as well. And it's not as easy when you're in a band with other people to be a mother at the same time.
I'm about to plate this all up, but this is the album as well, and I've got it on proper old school. It's nice to have. Listen, kids, this is what we're talking about. This, and it's even got, look at that, it's red as well, fantastic. Because I remember listening to you I was in my 20s, I remember listening to you, and I pimped out my Vauxhall Nova with a boot on it, and blasting you out. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
No,
Best
it's
of
so
luck with the
lovely.
album.
Thank you.
Best
Thank
of luck
you.
with the
It's
tour.
a joy
But I'm
to
gonna-
record.
We're going to then talk about... We've just got over here. We've just plated this up ready, but I've got... These aubergines, look, have just been simply roasted like that. So they're just been simply roasted. I've got this chutney over here, which is really simple, which is... They're ready. Over here, we've got a nice little bit of... this
Cream
vegan sort of
cheese.
cream cheese. But
Yes.
yeah, I remember we were
We've
saying...
just come a long way.
We were saying before the camera rolling, you used to make sort of cheese desserts out of vegan cheese, and it still looked like the cheese that you put in at 500 degrees for about 6 hours.
Yeah,
didn't it?
you couldn't melt, and this is how we know we've come a long way. Now we have melted cheese. We can have a
wouldn't
vegan
melt, would it?
pizza. No, not at all. Not at all. Doesn't matter how long you had it in.
It
what
wouldn't
you
melt.
did to it, you can pummel it for a while, put it in.
It wasn't happening.
Kept
But
it shape.
the whole thing about this is building up layers, and we've got this is a little bit of harissa because I know you like a little bit of spice. So
Yes, I
we've
do.
just put a little bit of this harissa dotted around. So we've got a little bit of that.
Flavours.
I take the aubergine like that. Then we can pop this on there, and then texture-wise, I've got in here this sort of tabbouleh, which I've done with a little bit of mustard and lemon dressing, which this sits on here over the top, like that.
It looks appetising.
It's
That's
not
another
finished
thing
yet.
about
It's not
vegan
finished
food.
yet there, Heather. Look at that.
You want it to look good as well as taste good.
Well, I always think, you know...
Feast for the eyes, James.
Exactly. We've got these lovely pine nuts toasted, like that.
Some of my
And then
favourite
I've got
things.
this green oil. Now, you can just use a little bit of basil, you can use a little bit of parsley, it's entirely up to you, but just...
Is that mixed with oil?
Yeah, this is just a little bit of oil, so it acts like a little dressing that we've got on here. And then finally, again, just a little bit of texture,
Smells
so we've
good
got a
too.
nice little bit of chutney. I've taken a little bit of cucumber over the top, a little bit of spring onion over the top,
Looks wonderful.
a little roasted aubergine, really, really simple, with layers of different flavours, that tomato chutney in there as well, all cooked in on the stove in a little oven. For you, Heather, easy as that.
I might try it.
Exactly.
Anyone who knows me will be laughing.
Now, the secret of this is you just finish it off with a bit of this. This is smoked sea salt. Because you've got the smokiness in there. Try and buy that smoked sea salt. It's amazing. But there you go. Heather, I never thought I'd be cooking for you. Listen to your music in that little Vauxhall Nova.
and here we are.
And here we are. Well, best of luck with the tour
Oh,
as
my
well.
goodness,
We're going
it
to chat a little
looks-
bit more later. I know you're going to stick around as well. We're going to chat with Tim Peake as well.
Yes,
But-
he's
but-
lovely.
But taste, it's
Oh, my
all about building up
goodness.
the flavours.
Yes.
It's flavours. You've got the lemon with the tabbouleh as well. It's just... It's a nice dish, that. With the chutney.
I'd pay for that, James.
You pay for that. Good. Good. £26.50 then. Done. Right. There we go. I'll be
delicious.
serving another recipe for Heather and Tim Peake at the end of the show. And Chef John Williams will be firing up the hobs a little bit later. But join us again after the break for an unmissable masterclass. You're going to want to see this. Loads of different things you can do with ready-made, bought-in puff pastry for tonight. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, there's still loads more to come from Chef John Williams from the Ritz, and I'll be cooking again for my guests Tim Peake and Heather Small at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass, and if you're hosting a New Year's Eve bash, a little party tonight, then this is probably the perfect dish that, if you've forgotten about it, this is the ultimate simple canopy, using puff pastry. Now, these can either be sweet or savoury, just nice little nibbles that you can nibble on throughout the evening. Really, really simple. So we're going to start things off with cheese straws. I've got on here some ready-made puff pastry. Now, this is all using ready-made puff pastry. Now, ideally, where possible, if possible, try and buy the all-butter puff pastry, because the reason why puff pastry tastes so good is that it's made out of butter. That's it. So it's layers of butter and dough together. So cheese straws, first of all. Now, you can do these, like I said, you can do these sweet or savoury. So if you wanted to serve these sweet, you can just, again, using the egg wash, you can sprinkle it with a bit of sugar, a bit of cinnamon. But I'm going to show you another simple way of doing this, or doing something similar, like this different shape, a bit sweet, with another bit of pastry. So we're going to start off with egg wash. I use egg yolk for this rather than whole egg because they're not in the oven for very long. The key to cooking pastry, particularly puff pastry, is a nice hot oven because you want it to colour nicely. So nice little bit of egg yolk for the egg wash. Then what we're going to use is some Parmesan cheese. It's entirely up to you what cheese you put in. Parmesan and cheddar really been the best ones, I suppose. You can use blue cheese, but it goes a bit stringy and a bit sticky. So what you want to do is you want to take this and sprinkle it over the top. Now, be quite liberal with it. This is just grated Parmesan cheese over there. And then you can take some fresh thyme if you want. Now, this is entirely up to you at this moment in time, what flavourings you put in. But a little bit of fresh thyme. You can use dried thyme, you can use dried rosemary, fresh rosemary, just finely chopped, that kind of stuff. But what you want to do is just take a little bit of this and just shred it off. Now, you don't have to do this, of course. A little bit of parsley even would work. But you're just after a little bit of colour. That's all you're after. So once we then just pop this all on here like that, a little bit more cheese over the top. And then a good idea is to get a rolling pin and just press this all on the top. Now, once you've done that, you can grab a bit of salt over the top, because the key to salt in canapes, you're probably not realising when you sat at the bar and stuff like that in a restaurant, the reason why chefs make stuff salty is you drink more. So you spend more. And then the idea is we then take our cheese straws and we want to cut these. So cut them about 1 centimetre thick, like that. So as you're going through, and you keep going, like that, and another one. So then what you can do is get yourself a tray, and I like to use a tray with a little non-stick mat, and these are well worn. I think for 2023, I might need to invest in some new trays, to be honest with you, but if you think this one's knackered, wait till you see the next one. But we're just going to twist these, so you rotate it opposite directions and press. So start at one end, twist the other direction, both ends, and press. So the reason why we're pressing in this is that it stops it from unravelling in the oven. So once you get to that stage, and you can keep making these. I mean, you see how much one sheet of puff pastry makes with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. It makes quite a lot, like that. So you just press like that. And the idea is you can just leave those as they are. Now, if you wanted to change this slightly to do a different shape, we can also take some ham, like this, a little bit of Parma ham. But like I said, this is where you can mix and match the different flavours. Ham, even a little bit of this fancy yeast extract. But with this one, what we can do is just take this now, once we got to this stage, and roll it all up. So this then rolls up nice and tight, like that. And then again, using a sharp knife, you don't want that bit. We can then take these, again about sort of 1 centimetre thick, and you can just pop these on here. So that these make fantastic little bites as well when you cook them. So what you do need is a little bit of separation, of course. This is puff pastry, so it will expand a little bit. Not so much the cheese straws, but these will puff up a little bit, so make sure you separate them out a little bit. And you've got these little bites as well. Now, like I said, you can fill these with whatever you wish, but Parmesan cheese is a good one because it's nice and a little bit salty. It's perfect. But if you want to spice this up a little bit, even down to a touch of cayenne, then to bake them, set the oven about 210, 200 degrees centigrade. That's about 400 Fahrenheit, quite a hot oven. Gas about 7, 8, something like that. They need to be quite hot. Middle shelf. Pop those in the oven. They're only going to take about 6 to 8 minutes. That's all they're going to take. And once they're nicely coloured, what you end up with is these ones. So we've got these. I'll bring these over. These are your cheese straws. Now, whatever you do with these, don't put them... You can turn them out that way if you wanted to. Don't put them in the fridge, because puff pastry, when it's been in the fridge, is not very nice. So once you make them, just keep them at room temperature like that. You can bake them when you need them, but you can see you've got these amazing, look, cheese straws. You see they get the colour of it. That colour comes from the egg yolk that you've got in there, and you can just pile these all up like that. Now, I'm going to be doing a soup as well in a second on the show. These would be fantastic with a little bit of soup. You can dump them in as well. But like I said, just nice and simple like that. Nice little savoury little snack. Now, if you want to do the similar sort of thing, but a dessert, but not really, you could do this as a... chefs call these petit fours. I don't like the word petit fours. That's far too small things to eat to me. But we need a proper dessert, don't we? So we get our puff pastry again. These are really simple. They're called palmiers. And they appear quite complicated to make, but there's a process behind it. And if you follow the process, they're just so easy to make. Now, like I said, you can make these, although I'm going to do a sweet one, you can make these savoury as well. So you do the similar sort of shape, but then put a savoury filling inside it. So for this, again, we're going to use a little bit of egg wash. Now, classically, you can use a bit of water, but we're just going to use a bit of egg wash here because I don't want to waste it. And what this is going to do is act as the glue to stick our flavouring in it. So once you've done that, like that. Now these are sweet, remember, so we're going to use some sugar. So this is just plain caster sugar. So very similar how we did with the Parmesan. Not so much as the Parmesan, but a little bit of sugar. And then the spice-wise, it's entirely up to you, but the really one that you want to be using is things like cinnamon. Try not to use nutmeg, but cinnamon is probably the best one for this one, I suppose. A little bit of that. You can mix and match the winter and spice if you wanted to. Nutmeg and all that kind of stuff. But mix it all together. Then what you want to do is fold this into the centre. So this is the process of making the palmiers. Now, the palmiers, when it translates, are sort of elephant's ears, pig's ears. They call them palm leaves, they sometimes call them as well. But to get that shape, you do this. So again, once you've done that, a little bit more egg, said, or water, but just don't put loads of it on. This is just, remember, it's just a little glue. So you're just holding the filling in. Now, once you've got that, a little bit more sugar, but it's this process that will give you the shape and the definition of a palmier. So a bit more cinnamon, like that, and then we can fold that over again. And again. So we do this one more time now. So it's only 3 times. And that's why the bit of ready-made roll puff pastry is perfect size for this. But make sure you do it that way, not the other way, all right? So a bit of sugar, a bit of cinnamon, and then we're going to fold this over for the final time. So that folds over, and you can see this build-up that you get in here. It's like a little heart shape. But what you want to do is just roll that a little bit just to seal everything. Now, before we put this on a tray, again, you thought that tray was bad. Look at this one. This is how it's properly done, look. And then we want sugar. And you need sugar. So sprinkle this liberally with caster sugar over the top. Now, this is going to do 2 things. It's going to create a lovely little glaze underneath. And as it cooks, you'll get this lovely shine on it that you'll get with classic palmiers. So once you've done that, we can trim off that bit because we don't want that. And then the good idea is to use a cook's knife. Try not to use something like a serrated knife for this. You want to be able to cut through quite quickly. So if this is quite warm, it's quite pliable. So pop it in the fridge at this page. What you want this is quite firm because you want the definition when you cut it. So when you cut through, you've got these little shapes like that. So be quite confident when you cut through, like that, as you slice through. Again, no more than about 1 centimetre thick, probably half a centimetre, really. You can be as thin as you want. But, and that you can see now I'm putting much more of a definition in space in between the gaps because these will expand and they will puff up to be sort of 4 times the size, 5 times the size. So make sure they are separated out by a little bit. If not, you're going to end up with a massive, great biscuit when it comes out of the oven. So nothing wrong with that, but that's what we want to be doing. So once you've got to that stage, again, quite a hot oven. For these, I would say probably go more on the 210, something like that. So increase the temperature of the oven again. So at the same time, too hot because it'll burn. 210 is probably about the right temperature, and these can cook for about 6 to 8 minutes in there, depending on what oven you've got. Fan oven, they'll go in there. So pop them straight in. What you end up with these is after about 6 to 8 minutes, we end up with your classic palmiers over here. Now, you can see on here, you get this definition, this nice little caramelization, this little shine to go with this. You can warm these up in the oven. These are great. They're brilliant cold. Alternatively, if you want a quick dessert as well, what you would do is you just take a little bit of whipped cream with some chocolate spread or something like that in it, squeeze on there, those go on there, and you've got a nice little dessert. But if you'd like to learn anything in a little masterclass, then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show in 2023 and beyond as well. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Chef John Williams will be wowing us with a stunning plate of monkfish. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're serving up a second helping for my guests Heather Small and Tim Peake very shortly. But first, I'm here with a chef whose culinary career... In fact, this gentleman is a culinary icon, I'm going to say. Has taken him from South Shields to the kitchens of one of the most famous hotels in the world. It's, of course, from the Ritz. It's Mr. John Williams. I'm going to call you an icon because that's what you are. Because, look, we've got our guests just sat here waiting to be fed. What are you going to be doing?
Well, I'm going to cook what the French call a gigot de lot.
OK.
You can see by the shape, it does look a little bit like a leg of lamb with a bit of imagination.
You're right. A leg of monkfish, this is.
A leg of monkfish it is. So I'm just going to season the fish first and foremost with curry salt. Right. I love seasoning fish with curry salt. It's not that it'll give a curry flavour. There's not enough in there.
So what is that? Is that mild curry powder and salt?
It's just a mild curry powder and salt. And I love to season all the fish.
Do you want some vegetable oil?
With that, lovely, thank you. And just dust it. What's quite important is you just really dust it.
Yeah.
And then pop it in there, just like that, to seal slightly.
You're not really colouring this, are you? Just,
no.
Just on one side.
Just a slight seal, turn it over, and then we're going to put our herbs in.
Right. OK, so tell us about the herbs. You've got a little bit of bay in here.
Yeah, bay leaf.
Yeah.
Bay leaf is a wonderful flavour when you're roasting. I just lay the herbs underneath and let the aromats speak for themselves, really.
Now, there is a reason why you're doing this dish as well, really, because, I mean, you work in, not just in one of those amazing restaurants, but also you work a lot in the industry in terms of doing loads of bits and pieces, I know, for industry, and congratulations on the latest award. You can announce what you've just... Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yeah.
Go on, then.
Very, very honoured. The AA Lifetime Achievement Award, which I was very, very
Which
humbled
I think it's only given to one person every year. Gives a
Very well
round of
deserved.
applause.
Very well deserved.
It is. I mean, you were quite shocked when you got it, didn't you?
Yeah, I was. You know, the only thing that worries me is I've got a couple of Lifetime Achievement Awards, and I worry whether they're telling me to get out now.
Ready for the next one coming
Exactly.
through. Right, so we've got... So you got a fish like that. Now, the reason for the little bit of paper, if you haven't got a non-stick pan, this is a good little tip. You can use a bit of greaseproof paper.
Absolutely. That's
there you go. So, bit of butter.
So a little bit of butter straight inside there.
And then in the oven.
You.
No problem.
That one's perfect there.
Well, we've got one in the oven, which I'll take out right on cue, and I'll just give this a quick baste, and we'll get on, and you can explain what we've got on here.
I've just messed up. I haven't got any white wine.
It's all right. I can get you some white wine.
Lovely.
No, we'll get some. Somebody's going to go get some white wine. Fine. We'll carry on.
Just a little bit of onion or shallot.
There you go. Right on cue. We've just edit that bit out.
Amazing.
Amazing this house,
I know this stuff is good. So bay leaf, a little bit of thyme.
So what is this for then? This is to cook the shellfish.
Yeah, just to cook the shellfish. So razor clams, whelks, and a few mussels.
Some white wine in.
Lovely.
In?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just a smidgen of garlic.
So what, from a South Shields lad, what made you fall in love with food then? What was the catalyst for you?
I was a hungry lad. I used to play sport all the time, and I came from a big family. My dad was a fisherman, and my mother needed help. I was the second oldest. And each Sunday morning, she'd shout across on the football pitch and say, "John, get in here. We need a hand." And it started me off.
I mentioned the fact of this dish as well, because not only are you working on lots of other things, you won the award recently, but another thing that Shuzi's passionate about is the Bocuse d'Or, which
Hence the reason
why we're doing this.
You know, the monkfish has been given to everybody that's cooking in there. There's 24 countries. The Bocuse d'Or is the biggest culinary competition in the world by far. And my sous chef, who prepared one of these, and along with Deepak, there's Ian and Deepak. Ian is actually representing the country for the Bocuse d'Or. So I just wanted people to see what they're just given this and say, make whatever you can. But it's about coming back to tradition and roasting like this. That's the reason why I'm really doing it.
Yeah. Right, so so you're reducing the liquor down.
This
is from the clams.
This is from the clams and everything.
I'll make sure that's ticking away nicely.
So basically, from there, we're just going to prepare the sauce. So now you've got the amalgamation of the chicken stock.
Yeah.
And of course, the juice. And that juice will just actually be brought together. But when I finish it, that's when you'll actually really see the flavour.
I know you wanted to explain this at the beginning. Explain what we've got in here.
Here we have a lemon puree, which is basically the zest and everything just cooked and blanched several times, but cooked down and then brought together in a high-velocity blender, and then getting a puree.
Yeah.
The same with this, it's just blanched leaves of basil. They're then put into oil, made in infusion, and then blitzed again, hence the green colour.
And blended, you want to do this in somebody else's kitchen, though, don't you, really? Because you blend it for, like, if you want to really annoy somebody in the kitchen, you just leave this blender going for, what, half an hour? It's about that, isn't it?
Well, the chap that made this, Deepak, is one of my sous chefs, and he made this for me, and I promise you, I walk into the kitchen and hear that, I say, oh, God, let me get out.
Yeah, because of the noise, because it's going up. But when you taste these two together... Yeah. Taste these two together.
That is amazing.
That's a fantastic blend together, isn't it?
It's amazing.
OK, so we're going to make a beurre noisette. We're just about there with the fish.
Right, so does the beurre noisette split the sauce? Is that the idea?
That's exactly the whole idea. So what I want to do is just to get this golden brown so it's frothy. And then once that's there, we're going to add the jus to that to bring everything together. I just want to actually have a quick taste.
That pan's ready. Do you want me to add the butter to it?
Yes, please.
Half of that?
Yeah.
Look how much butter's left. So this is the key to it. It's just getting this to a stage where it's just nut brown.
It's so important. The froth comes up, it starts to turn golden.
Do you want me to drain this out?
Yes, please. I'll just glaze it in a touch. See the brown? Lovely.
So this is where it starts to go that nut brown colour, which is exactly what you want.
And then it just froths up a touch.
This is cooking, though, isn't it? Look at this.
And then we take our seafood and just dress them. That's handy.
You hungry?
Salivating here.
See, this is the great thing about watching you cook. The room's silent, you see? Silent. Now, tell me about this. I haven't seen one of these for yonks.
Well, I thought it'd be a bit of fun. In 1978 is when I first did this dish with my old boss. And he said, this is gigolo, this is, you know, a real good Frenchman. And, of course, what they do is they just pop the... Is it open enough? Probably just a bit big. There you go.
There you go.
Just on there.
You go. And that's your beautiful... I'll have a clean of the
That.
plate.
Lovely. And then I'll start dressing some of the vegetables around.
Yeah. Looks amazing. And one thing that I love about your cooking as well, it's all about, it's about as much about the room, the theatre, the serving of the food is so vital, you know?
Yeah, and it is very vital in the Ritz. You know, it's about a style, but it's about getting flavour. And it's just bringing the right combinations together. And, you know, all the time, the ingredients is king. Without the ingredient, nobody's nothing.
Do you want me to take a little bit of the...
Yes, please.
Little bits?
Just a couple of bits of lemon for a bit of sharpness. It's quite important to get those bits on there.
So I've stopped using tweezers, I'm using my fingers, is that
Well,
right?
no, that's... Do you know what? My young men are very good at it, and they keep saying to me, Chef, use the tweezers. Chef, use the tweezers.
You just go back to using your hands, don't you?
That's it.
we've been doing this a long time.
That's the thing. And then just dot a little bit of that emulsion.
Flavour's amazing from those two things, do you think?
Yeah.
He said nothing. You usually can't get a word in. Said absolutely nothing. Merlin's been sat there saying absolutely nothing.
He's a good lad. We had a discussion.
We're so fascinated, just like we can't get our eyes off
I always
what's
think when you watch. I mean, I've been cooking a long, long time, but when you watch a real craftsman do their job, there's a just you can't just help just stand and watch.
Well, yeah, because there was such a cornucopia of ingredients, and we've ended up with something so beautiful and simple.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
But it speaks to the amount of flavour.
The secret is simplicity, and I really do believe that.
Just a few sauce on, either.
Yeah, that's sitting pretty.
So these are little fennel
Just one or
flowers.
two little, yeah, lovely. Just a couple of those on there, and I'll get this warmed up.
Happy with that?
Put everything on, and then it just
I've got a few bits of these put on there.
lashings.
That's special.
That is amazing, isn't it?
It looks amazing, doesn't it? Are you happy with that?
I'm more than happy with
So
that.
give her the
James.
name of this amazing-looking dish as well. I can see people trying this tonight.
Well, in English, it's just a roast. It's a roast monkfish with seafood. Obviously, it's brown shrimps, mussels, and clams, and winkles, etc. You can use more or less whatever you like. And then an array of vegetables, artichokes, button onions, romanesco, and baby leeks.
And we're going to end 2022, which I think is one of the nicest dishes that we've seen in 2022 on this show.
Thank you.
John Williams, everybody. Go for it then, Chefy.
Straight off the bone.
Straight off the bone. Look at that.
It holds it, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, the key to cooking fish on the bone is, well, there's moisture as well, isn't it? That's
exactly.
The key to...
Exactly.
So you help yourself. Dive into a little bit of that.
Ladies first.
And that's the key to it, isn't it?
real
Keep it
food.
nice and moist. Keep it on the bone.
That's it.
It's beautiful. And monkfish is, I mean, they're obviously famous in France, but monkfish throughout the UK is amazing. One of the best monkfish I've ever had was in Scotland. The colour was white as white. It's amazing.
Certainly dip a little bit in.
Can I just say you don't get this at the Ritz with his squeezy bottles at the table?
No.
Great.
That is definitely extra. There we go. But John Williams, everybody. Right, you going to stick around for the rest of the show?
Yeah.
It's a pleasure having the house. We've still got time for one more final course, so join me again after the break when I'll be rusting up a corn and coconut soup for my guests, Heather Small and Tim Peake, with everybody else. Anyway, see you after the break. Welcome back now to the last part of the show, sadly. But I'm back in the kitchen with chefs John Williams, Merlin Griffiths, Heather Small and Tim Peake. All of them are here as well. So I thought, for my final dish, I thought I'd do a wonderful little homage to the Caribbean.
Lovely.
Coconut soup. We're going to flavour it with a little bit of sweet corn as well. And really, really simple little soup. So I've got my assistant over here. Now, he's learning a little bit, so you just got to persevere a little bit. Sometimes he has off days. So we're hoping today is not an off day.
Very slow.
No, I don't know about that. So we're just going to take a little bit of olive oil. We're going to fry off the little bit of shallots and a little bit of garlic that goes on in here, really. That all gets fried off, first of all. And then we're going to add this to the pan. Now, it's interesting that both of you are on tour. As well, both of you on tour, different parts. Don't you find that you must, Tim? You're new to this touring thing for the last few years, but Heather, you must know, because whenever I tour, you're constantly looking at who was in the theatre the night before and who's in the theatre the day after and all that kind of stuff. There's some amazing places in this country, though, isn't there?
There are some wonderful places to play, but I don't worry who's in there before or after me. I just worry about the night that I'm on. Yeah, that's all you can do.
It must be just me and you. That's what's. I do remember because I was following Simply Red, and I was bricking it to be honest.
That's hard. Nobody
And then Storms, I remember How does a chef follow Stormzy? The fact of the matter, he doesn't. Now we're talking about Tim. We're talking about the theatre and everything else that's in it. Really, give us some interesting insights. If there's got to be some young kids, and they'll be watching this, going, you know, astronaut. I want to be an astronaut. Is there? I don't suppose there's a fast track in, but is what advice would you give the younger generation watching this? You know. Something, because I mean, you remember, you must have aspired to be an astronaut like everybody else.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? You wanting to be an astronaut. Yeah.
And it's a great time to be young and to want to be an astronaut because there's so much accessibility to space, and it's going to become more so over the next few years. So I think the most important thing really is to focus on what is it that you're passionate about, what you love doing. Because if you look at astronauts today, we don't come from the same backgrounds. There's a whole mixed variety, from school teachers to medical doctors, engineers, scientists. You know, science and maths is important, so you're probably going to have to knuckle down and get qualifications in science and maths at some point. But it's a case of finding out what is it that you love to do before you become an astronaut.
It is. I mean, I can see you're just saying. You can.
Well, because I'm not one of those people that wanted to go to the moon. So for me, it's fascinating because I think to myself, I'd be quite terrified. And then when I heard you speaking before, you know, you aged 20 years while you're up there. I thought, no way, am I paying to go somewhere that's going to age me for 20 years? Maybe somewhere that will give me sunshine and youthfulness, but 20 years aging, no. So, and for me, you know, like you say, you find out what you're really good at. And then that's the stepping stone. And I think that's a lesson for life. You know, first and foremost, you do find out what you really, really love. And if it's space, then it's space.
Well, I mean, as most, because you can't even imagine, you must have dreamed about it when you were a young kid. I think everybody's the same when you're looking at...
I would like to know what it's like looking back on Earth.
Looking back on Earth is so special. And it's not just the view, it's the whole feeling of weightlessness and the tranquility. Because the space station's moving fast. It's 25 times the speed of sound. But there's no engine, so there's no vibration, there's no noise. And when you go to that cupola window and it's perfectly silent and you're kind of in a free-fall position, floating in weightlessness, looking down at the planet, it's so unimaginably tranquil and peaceful and just beautiful. It really is.
Right, so we're about there to blend this. So we'll blend this at the same...
Sorry.
So we'll take our little blender now. I'll just take this off, and then I'll pop this all in. See, I knew he was just teaching. He's made a little bit of mess. So we're going to take... So I've just got a little bit of potato in here, just to help thicken it up. Sometimes you don't need it, but just a little bit of potato. And then what we're going to do is just blend this up. I've got a touch more stock if we need to add a little bit more stock to this. But then what we're going to do is just give it a real good blend. And I'm going to put the lid on, put a cloth over it, give it to you, chef.
Yeah.
Walk away. And Happy New Year. Are you ready?
Done.
It's fine. There you go. So we're just blend
Fine, everyone.
So while that's blending, we're going to take a little bit of our oil, a little bit of olive oil, take our corn and almost sort of char this over this. And then we're going to add some maple syrup. Maple syrup and corn, amazing combination. We're just going to char that until it starts to pop, take it off the heat, and a little bit of chopped chives. He's happy. It's like a little bit of homemade popcorn. There we go. Make sure you're happy with that. Yeah, so if you put it back in there, I'll let you season it up. We can add some lime juice, bit of salt and pepper. See, why cook it yourself when you've got him in the kitchen? Look at this, so nice. But you've got a really simple little soup. It's taken normal, very quick. Touch of chives in there as well. So, Heather, we're talking about our tour. Just to remind everybody about this amazing tour, because you're touring with this amazing group that people have seen before with different musicians, but, you know, you're one of them. Many musicians that are going on the road raising money for this amazing charity. So tell everybody about it, because it is fantastic.
Yeah, so it's Young Voices, and we go to multiple cities. It's young people, young choirs coming on stage, doing a whole show with an orchestra, with some of the best musicians in the country, and just raising money and having fun.
And this is a full-on orchestra as well. That's the thing. It's not just a band of 8, 10 people. It's
and it's arenas. So, you know, if the children aren't nervous, I will be. But
there's no fear, is there, really? That's the thing.
Yeah, and you know, you feed off that. It's just excitement, and it's just joyous. It's really joyous. So I'd say to everybody, come along, support these children. You know, you're supporting some young musicians who will go on to make a living and a career out of making music. And then you're just supporting young people and their confidence and their experience.
Yeah,
just
life's
having
all
fun.
about experience, and some people experience a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we've got in here a little bit of lime juice on here, and then Sheffy over here can have a taste, make sure it's all happy, but tell me what you think, whether it needs a little bit more. There's a spoon next to you, so I'll take a little bit more.
The man's a culinary genius.
It's nice, huh?
Oh, it is. It's very nice.
Yeah, so there you go. So I'll just take a little bit of a soup. So what I've done with this one is I've got some with the crab, like that. And this is the thing, it can be so simple, this. So fresh crab in here.
It's got a nice consistency as well.
It's got a consistency, exactly. Well, I wanted to do this because we know we both love the Caribbean. We got a nice little bit of oil, which we've got in here. So
So
Real
what's that
chefy
flavoured?
finish.
a little bit of chefy finish with the oil. This is just a little bit of basil oil.
Okay.
And then I take the, I think the thing about soups is texture, so we've got a little bit of the sweet corn over the top. That sips over the top of there. Over the top of there. And then a few of these seeds, just a few of these, textures as well, over the top. These have just been toasted, nice and simple. And then fresh coconut, just over the top. But there you have my sweet corn and coconut soup. As easy as that, with a little help from my friend over here. Bon appetit. Done. Right, bon appetit. I've got to get these right. That's yours.
Yes, thank you.
That's yours.
Thank you, James.
Smells delicious.
Chief, that's yours if you want any.
Lovely,
But
thank
that's
you.
yours. Tell us what you think. Now, any issues with seasoning, please see my assistant chef over here. Please try harder was on his CV when he was at school.
That is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
That is delicious.
Really nice, isn't it?
Thank you,
Consistency,
James,
all
yeah.
the
Really simple, but there you
flavours.
go. Well, thank you all for coming as well. Best luck with everything you're doing as well, the tour and the kids and everything else as well. And I'll see you in the restaurant. I'll see you in the bar very soon. What a great show, I told you. There we have it. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thanks to all my guests, Dipna and Gulu Anand, Merlin Griffiths, John Williams, and, of course, Heather Small and Tim Peake. Great show. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be kicking off 2023. Yes, 2023, with more top chefs, other brilliant guests. And then till then, take care, stay safe with everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. Bye for now.